Hello and welcome to the Diary of the Man with the Dog on Sunday the 19th of March. I hope you're enjoying your weekend. Well, we are, even though it's blustery, cold and a bit of a storm outside. I think it's come from America and it's called Storm Nancy or Barbara or Melania, whatever. So it's breathing down on the British Isles at the moment. So it is quite cold for a March day. But then there you go, it's Britain and things will change every 5 minutes. So we went to visit friends to Leicestershire. I love going to Leicestershire and Leicester. You probably have heard about the Leicester victory in the English Football League last year. Even people like myself who know nothing about football or do not follow thought it was such a feel-good thing because they're such underdogs. It was the next best thing after the Man in the Moon or whatever. So we had a great time. So we went and visited friends. They're called Andy and Debbie. They're very, very musical and I think musically inclined. And so Andy played a bit of the piano and it was charming. And they have a son called Dan Mosley. You heard about him from me here first. Now he's a budding musician. He's only 23, but he has just brought out his first album in a very modest sort of way. He's trying to pass this around through social media, etc. And I was absolutely charmed when I heard the tracks. So well done to Dan if you're listening to this. What was on the menu? On the menu we had homemade hummus. Well done, Debbie. Homemade hummus with some veggies, and amongst those veggies was red carrots. Have you had red carrots? No, I've had red carrots yesterday. Very Waitrose, and I think there are two types of people in the world now who has had red carrots and who hasn't. But anyway, it tastes like carrot, it's just red. We had some nice salmon and some veggies, and finally the pièce de résistance was a blueberry pancake with either crème fraîche or ice cream. So I decided to have both. Why not? And then we went for a lovely walk to a place called the Bradgate Park. And it is this huge expanse of amazement right in the heart of the county. There's rocks, there's various colours. They say, fortunately, it didn't rain, but it was, the sky was dark, so the greens took a very different, deep green. I like that, and the bodies of water in the park, looked rather mysterious. So, but Mika had a great time, and we all did. What else was on the menu? We talked about, Brexit. Oops, did I just say Brexit? Yes, I did, didn't I? So, Brexit, we all sort of, everyone's mind. So I just might as well get that out of my system. As I do this, it's in my mind, just like all my friends, families, neighbours, colleagues, we kind of avoid it, and yet we talk about it. It is the elephant in the room in everyone's mind these days, and for obvious reasons. So I thought I'll add a few pennies worth of my introspection on the miles of it that's already been sort of clogging up the stratosphere. But I will try and keep it simple and not engage in the big words that's been floating around of the end of globalization and populism, post-truth and identity liberation, failure, the snowflake generation and the mic drop, blah, blah, blah. So let's keep this simple. Let me make a few points. Point number one, why did Brexit happen and people didn't think it would? I think because the people who were not obviously heard wanted it, and they were the majority. It is quite simple, and it is the first 1 + 1 equals to 2 in this in my comments. Nothing subjective about this at all. It is just what it is. And one more observation on this is, there is, I can't help but not saying it, even at the risk of, stepping out of what had been my comfort zone for many, many years or decades throughout my life, that there is a subconscious content, of the ordinary bloke by the elite, intelligentsia, if you like. And they are the people who do disseminate information, who create information, people like the journalists and people like politicians. And they come from both the left or right. Oh gosh, I said again the two bad words now, which just stopped meaning anything for me. Anyway, point number two. Point number two is that I personally know a lot of people who have voted for it. I mean, they may be wrong or they may be right, but they're certainly not evil, xenophobic, racist, etc., etc. And they're certainly not going to kill everyone, who's blonde and beautiful, and who have got who isn't blonde and beautiful, and who has got swastika flags flying from the back garden. So they're not at all, they're just normal people. Point number three, again, is totally objective. The vocal, the very visible, educated and well-informed and pro-European youth of Britain, I would say the segment of 18 to 25, is a small minority in the demographic structure of Britain. I mean, that's a fact, and they never vote either. However, I know that they did vote, and they think about it very strongly. But even if they did, they were basically just outnumbered. So I sympathise with the likes of my two daughters, who, for very good reasons for themselves, are pro-European. Point number four: why did the poor? You hear that a lot. Why did the poor vote for the right? Now, this is interesting. Is Brexit as a concept a very right of centre concept? And what is the right anymore? We had a Tory Prime Minister, Theresa May, in her acceptance speech out in front of Number 10, she spoke about putting social equality as a top policy priority. The Labour Party recently voted to keep and invest in nuclear submarines. So what is right or left? The new American president, has won a mandate pitching to the poor. So what is right and left anymore? You tell me. Maybe it's a good thing this has happened. So, because we really need to visit this arena again and unlearn a lot and kind of think about things again in a very, very honest way. Point number 5. So what's going to happen? The answer is, and the very honest answer is, no one knows. I doubt if Mrs. May or the people sitting in Brussels are going to make this happen, know anything beyond what you and I know, maybe just a bit more. But it's just impossible to know what's this happened because there's no benchmark. It has not happened before in history. So this is a new case. And decades of legislation in thousands, and sometimes I feel in tens of thousands, they have got intertwined with Britain. And imagine a divorce where you've got 10,000 children and each has to be tackled and each has to be informed about the decision, doing the minimum damage, for the sake of, them and both the parties involved. So is this a logistical nightmare? Yes, of course it is. Will the Spanish, sell us aubergines? Probably yes, but if not, I'll have to grow my own. I love aubergines, so there you go. But maybe we'll all, we'll not get any food, and we'll probably all eat less and get thinner, and So for the next 2 years, once Article 50 is triggered, my plan is to just go and see the rest of Europe that I haven't seen without have to pay for a visa, and all this bureaucracy or whatever. I hope it doesn't come to it, but who knows? Maybe there'll be a visa. So as I said, there's millions of questions that's coming up that no one knows answers to. And I can always travel to Asia or the Americas, once Britain is officially out. But then again, if the British pound is worth about $5 you'd not be able to do that, in which case we'll all head for our holidays to Yorkshire and stay on antidepressants for the rest of our lives, which most of us do anyway. So, hey, que sera, sera, just accept it, get on with it. And, my next diary would be from Holland. So we're off to Holland. I have taken a short week ahead. So on Friday next week, we leave for Holland, and I will do a diary from there. And before I go, I wish you a very good week. And let me play a little bit of Dan Mosley, Andy and Debbie's son. Dan, if you're listening, if you make it really famous and become rich and famous, you have to make sure that I have a lifetime's ticket for all your gigs. And so I'll play Dan Mosley. This track is called Mercedes-Benz, and his band, which he is the only person in the band, is called Dr. Nancy and the Medicine Project. So here is Dan. I think I should mime a little bit along with it. I will do a much better job than Mariah Carey did in New York on New Year's Eve. So here is Dan and Mercedes-Benz. You heard it here first.
Yeah, she's clocking up miles again in a Mercedes-Benz, but she was driving on the wrong side to meet a bitter end, and I was face down on the pavement, afraid she might have found that picture of you. 'Cause it might be you. It might be you.